Happy Veterans Day to all of you vets out there, and thank you so much for your service to our country. We're really glad to have you here. We have a full show. I just want to do a couple warnings first. We are in the Northwest. We are having, as most of the country, a little beautiful weather, but we're having some high winds out here, and several people have lost their power or are losing their power. So just in case, I do want to let you know what's going on. I am going to attempt to show our PowerPoint. James, you see it okay?
It looks great, Becky. I love the big old I take the lead one. The only thing is we don't see the full screen again.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you, James.
Oh, you betcha.
After practicing, and we still don't. Okay. Bear with me, everybody. Okay.
And there's the lovely Becky again. I love it. That's great. While you're pulling that up, I want to say that we are excited to have Ronnie on the call today. I'm so excited. She is so wise. And I've told everybody in Denver about your Magic the Gathering and your work with that as well. So this is exciting.
Thank you, James. It's so fun to be here.
All right, let's see what you got here, Becky. And we do not see it, no.
Oh,
all we see is the we see the PowerPoint and the stuff on the side.
Okay.
Okay, if I could, just real quick.
Sure.
Go ahead and get out so we can see yourself one more time.
Okay.
Wonderful. Click on screen share.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. And you see where it says entire screen?
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on that entire screen. Beautiful. Now go ahead and open up your PowerPoint presentation. Wonderful. And Becky, that looks amazing. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Thank you, James. By golly, I was determined. So anyway, I just want to again thank everybody for being here. Those who are taking time out of their holiday or their work day to meet with us today. This is a weekly networking webinar brought to you by I Take the Lead. And James Klingesmith is on the call as well as Becky Tangwall. Gene Hamilton might be coming on later. And I just want to share very quickly who we are and why we do this. We are I Take the Lead. We're a leads group organization based out of Portland, Oregon. We are expanding through franchising, and James is the owner of Denver or Colorado I Take the Lead, as well as Wyoming I Take the Lead. And so I'm really excited to have him here. I just wanted to let you know that while we build leads groups and encourage our members to build their business by referral, we provide a lot of ongoing support, as well as we always like to take time to have fun. And so you may hear a little bit of laughter here and there when you attend an I Take the Lead meeting. We have a variety of these added benefits that we provide: special guest speaker meetings, free membership fees, and once a month travel club. Some of our members are even working at being able to go anywhere where WorldMark's at and spend a whole week there. As a matter of fact, Terry Shinners out of the Vancouver area has a free. She's 2 members away from getting her free week, and she can go to Maui, as we see here, or anywhere where WorldMark's at. So I'm going to let James take over. He's got a special going on in the Denver area.
Thank you so much, Becky. I'm so excited about this. So if you're part of I Take the Lead in Denver, Colorado, you might remember Jersey Boys. A lot of us went out and we did a big old flash mob, and we got to watch Jersey Boys before everybody else. The reserved seats, it was very, very prim and proper. It was awesome. Now, we're doing Horrible Bosses 2. Warner Brothers has come out with Horrible Bosses 2, and this is a networking event like you've never been to. Believe it or not, here's how we're going to do it. At 6:30, we go to Dave & Buster's, all right, over on Colorado and I-25. Right behind there, we're going to walk past the line, everybody waiting for that premiere because we are the VIP. We're going to walk into the movie theater and take the tape off that says reserved because that's reserved for you, believe it or not. That's awesome, right? Now, this movie doesn't even come out for a couple weeks, but we're going to give it to you just coming to an I Take the Lead meeting with a guest. Yeah, that's right. That's all you have to do. Go to any I Take the Lead meeting with a guest, and you get to watch the movie before everybody else does, VIP style. And if that wasn't good enough, we're having network right after with free grilled cheese sandwiches. Now, I only can get 50 grilled cheese sandwiches vouchers, so if you want to be a part of this, if you want more information, email James at itakethelead.com. That's James at itakethelead.com. Thank you so much, Becky, for letting me mention that. So
of course.
It's this Thursday, 6:30. I'm excited.
6:30. Okay, and that is in Denver, or?
Yes, it's in the heart of Denver. I-25, okay. Colorado Boulevard, the movie theater over right by Dave & Buster's, and that's where we're meeting after the movie.
Okay. Oh, I remember. I've been over in that area. So, well, good. Well, that sounds very exciting, James. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, at this time, I want to introduce our speaker today, Ronnie Noize. We had scheduled her 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then due to technical glitches and user error, which was mine, we had to reschedule her. So we have a lot of people who have signed up for the call today. As a matter of fact, close to 200 people. Several had to get the replay because they couldn't actually be on the call today. But I want to do a little introduction for Ronnie. We met years ago. I don't even remember how long it's been. Do you know, Ronnie?
It's been 10 years, Becky.
10 years. Okay. Yeah, 10 years ago, we were at a networking function, which happened to be at Ronnie's office. And I was just very impressed with her. We really connected really well, even though we didn't get a chance to talk too much. And I had been starting to think about starting my own little mastermind group. So I touched base with Ronnie. It was October. It took us until January to really connect, and we decided to go have tea together. And I asked Ronnie right then and there, would you like to be part of my mastermind group? And she said, would I? And so it's been uphill ever since then. She's become a dear friend of mine. I had no idea what an important person she was when we first connected, but she was voted one of the top 100 most powerful women here in the Portland area. And she's very, very well known in the Northwest. She's been all over where I take the leads at to speak to different groups. She's been out to Denver with us twice, up to Seattle a couple different times. She's magnificent. She's the marketing coach. She also is the founder and owner of DIY Marketing Center, and she's just absolutely fabulous. I could go on, but I'll let her speak for herself. So let's give a warm welcome to Ronnie Noize. Yay!
We love you, Ronnie.
Oh, thank you so much. What a fantastic introduction, Becky. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so excited.
You deserve it.
Oh, thank you. So can you guys see my little presentation okay?
We do. It's perfect.
Fantastic.
Looks good to me.
So, thank you. Well, so this is my special story. This is what everybody is here to find out, and that's exactly how I got 29 clients in just 42 days. And here's the cool thing. I did it entirely through networking. So before we go further, I have a question for you. What is networking? Becky Tengwall, you are famous for saying networking is not selling. Networking is not sales. Absolutely. But most people say, like, well, what is it? So I came up with a little definition I'd like to share with you right now. And I know, Becky, you've heard this 200 times. But I say that networking is connecting to serve, share, and support. The nice thing about networking is it's one of the best ways to get connected with people, to be able to help them, and they in turn will support you in pretty much whatever you're doing. As a matter of fact, I think business really runs on networking. I can tell you that getting a job runs on networking. 82% of jobs are gotten through personal networks. And this is why networking is so important. And we don't think always that it's going to help us with business, but it really does. So I would like to start by, now that we know what networking is, I would like to tell you about the worst networking mistake that I've ever seen. When I first started my business, I realized that networking was an important way for me to build. And a few weeks into that process, and I'll go back and talk to that about that in just a minute, I had, I think, one of the a typical yet terrible networking experience. I went to a gigantic networking meeting because I knew networking was good, and that was part of my big master plan to build my business. I went to one of those chamber Lollapaloozas, 25 complete strangers walking around with glasses of wine in a big room. And I was thinking, yeah, this is going to work for me. I don't know what I was thinking. But I remember when I walked in the door, I was terrified. Usually I like to get places a little bit early, but for some reason I was a little bit late, and so 225 pairs of eyes turned and stared at me when I walked in the door, and I felt like, yikes, this is super scary. I don't know if anyone else has ever been in this position, but for me as an introvert, and I know you're an introvert too, Becky.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I mean, how would you feel if you walked into a room full of strangers?
Oh, yeah, I'd be scared to death, so I totally relate.
Well, and I tell you what, Becky, I would have turned and run for the hills if I hadn't been so visible. But there was no way to pretend I was simply in the wrong room, so I had to go in this room. And luckily though there was this gal there who was a volunteer hostess. I could tell because she was wearing the red jacket and she had a big button on. And we made eye contact. And here's the important thing about making eye contact. She gave me social permission to approach her. And I should have warned you, I'm going to tell this story about this, but I'm also going to kind of infuse it with a bunch of networking tips. And so here's your first networking tip, is you need social permission to approach people, and you can get that by making eye contact. And if they hold the eye contact for a moment and smile, then it's okay. But if you make eye contact with someone and they turn away, that means don't approach. But luckily, this gal did make eye contact with me. And I would have thought, because I was so well prepared for this meeting, that I would be super confident. But I wasn't as confident as I could be. And so let me tell you what I did to prepare. The first thing I did was I wore an outfit to go to this networking meeting that was consistent with the image that I was trying to project, because I knew that when the first time people would meet me, they were going to make a decision about me, whether or not they could trust me, whether they liked me, and whether I was who I said I was. And the best way to do that is to dress the part, because even though we know that it's what's inside that counts, people believe the stuff on the outside first. And that's why I think if you want to be taken seriously, you have to dress like a professional, or whatever it is that you want to look like. So I'm professionally dressed. I had my business cards in my right pocket because I was wearing a jacket. The reason I have them in my right pocket, pretty easy, because I'm right-handed, and when that's how I would pull out a business card, is with my right hand. On the other hand, I left my left pocket empty so that when I received a business card, I could put it there. Because I can't tell you how many times, and it's been more than once, twice, or 3 times, and someone's given me a business card that wasn't there. And the reason they did that is because they've mixed up their business cards with the business cards that they've received. So I had known about this, so I was totally prepared. So I'm wearing a nice suit jacket, my business card's in the right pocket, my left pocket empty and waiting to receive business cards of people that I meet. I was also wearing a name tag, and it was high on my right shoulder on the lapel of my jacket, so not on the pocket. You know, it's not a pasty. It's more like a collar. It needs to go way up, kind of at the bottom of my face, framing my face. Because let's face it, Becky, we gals don't need to give guys more reasons to look down our shirts.
Oh, and absolutely.
So when we're networking, that name tag goes high on the right shoulder. And now I know it feels really natural when you put on a name tag, especially when you're using those little sticky name tags, to slap it on your left shoulder, kind of over your heart, as if you're saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And that feels natural. The problem is most of us extend our right arms when we meet people, and we generally don't face people head on anyway. We generally face people at an angle with our left shoulder tilted a little bit backwards and our right shoulder and right hand extended for the shake. Now here's the deal. If you've got something on your left shoulder, that means the person you're meeting has to kind of crane their head around to read your name tag. So I suggest that you wear it very high on your right shoulder so that you're presenting the visual of your name with your name tag as you shake hands. The other thing is we want to watch how we shake hands. Good heavens. You don't want to shake hands with a wet hand, so that if you've got a cold drink when you're at one of these meetings, hold it in your left hand so that your right hand's always dry. You also don't want to give someone a really weak, dead fish sort of handshake. So clasp the other hand firmly, lay your thumb flat on their hand, and squeeze a little bit, not too hard and not too much. It can be some guys kind of go overboard on the handshake, and when that happens to me, I say, "Whoa, tiger," and usually they don't object to that. But you also, ladies, let's not give people our fingertips, because they're not going to kiss our knuckles. We are not the Queen of England, and ladies shake hands the same way that men do. And so, anyway, so all of these things I have gone through my mind. Also, before I walked into this meeting, I prepared my elevator speech. That question, or that answer to the question, "What do you do?" And it's mine's 7 words long, so I was prepared. So here I was, still as prepared as I was, quite nervous at this networking event, and I was so grateful that this gal actually looked at me and gave me social permission to talk to her. So I approached, and she welcomed me and asked me my name and what I did, and I said, "Oh, hi, I'm Ronnie Noize, the marketing coach, and I help small businesses attract more clients," and I handed her my business card. Then I asked her the same, and she gave me her business card, told me her name, and said that she represented a line of skincare and cosmetics sold only through direct sales, and said, "Have you heard of it?" And I was excited because not only had I heard of this brand, I was wearing it. And I thought, wow, we are totally going to connect. And so I said, "Yeah, I have. I'm wearing your lipstick right now, Garnet Frost." And I was thinking she'd be really excited about that. And had I been less nervous, I would have noticed that her smile was a little bit, shall we say, forced. And then she asked me, she said, "Oh, really? Who's your rep?" Now, in retrospect, I recognize that now as a challenge question. She wanted to know if I really knew who sold me this lipstick. Well, of course, I know my rep very well, and I thought, this is so cool. She's a director. I bet they know each other. And I said, "I bet you know her. It's a Noize show. Do you know Noize?" And this gal said to me, "No, I don't. But I guess I won't need this anymore." And Becky and James, I swear to you, as God is my witness, she handed me back the business card I had just handed her.
Oh, my word. You're joking.
I know. Is this just crazy? I think this is the worst networking mistake ever made. What she said was, essentially, is if I can't sell cosmetics to you, I have no reason to be connected to you or know you.
Oh, wow. What a mistake. Wow.
I think it is the absolute. I mean, this is, I think going into a sales pitch the second you meet somebody is a big mistake too. But this one, telling someone in just by your gesture that you have no reason to know them because you can't sell to them, that we have no value to other people except as consumers. Well, I think that was pretty hideous.
Oh, I agree.
So this was my introduction to small business networking when I started my business about 14 years ago. And wow, I'd like to say that this was an isolated incident. However, so I blogged about this. You know how girls are. We like to. And my blog post was picked up by the Vancouver Business Journal.
Oh my word.
And so here's the funny thing, Becky. I got 3 phone calls, 2 of them from guys asking me, was it me? And the first guy, I said, look, dude, you're a guy. It was about a woman in cosmetics. And he's like, oh, please, Ronnie, I know when you're trying to hide the identity of somebody. It was actually, I'm sure it was a guy in the computer business like me. Was it me? Dude. Okay, very clever. Yeah. But no, it wasn't you, my friend. And why would you think that's okay? And he said, well, because if they already have a computer guy, they won't need me, so I don't need to know them. And I said, wrong, wrong, wrong. Their computer guy may retire, may piss them off, may be on vacation, they may move, their computer guy may move, he may go out of business, or they may want to refer someone else to you, to someone besides their computer guy, but if they don't have a relationship with you, that's not possible. Networking is not about who's going to buy from me, it's about who can I have a great relationship with. So 2 guys called me. Unfortunately, the gal who did this didn't call, and I don't think she's ever figured this out. But that was my first introduction to networking on a large scale, and I got to tell you, I wish that, that is not the only time I've had situations like that helping. Too many people are walking around networking events either trying the hard sell or not wanting to talk to people who don't perceive as being a prospect then and there.
Right.
It's awful. So I want to go move on to the next thing. I want to talk about where I started in this 42-day process. So actually, the thing I just told you about was about day 14. But 2 weeks before that is when I had just started my business. I had been a marketing consultant, and I went to coaching school, and took me a long time, but after I got out of school, I was ready to wrap up all my consulting projects and be a coach. And I had been so focused on finishing up my consulting that I didn't spend any time getting clients. So when I walked in my very first day as a coach, back in those days I was still working in a home office, but when I walked into my home office and sat down at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, I had a completely clean desk and a completely clean calendar. Nothing. There were no clients, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Luckily, as you can see in the photo, I had a little stack. I don't know if anybody else here has a stack of other people's business cards on their desk. Well, mine was nice and neat, but still it was the only mess on my desk, and I thought, well, what can I do with all of these business cards? And the first thing I did was count them because I didn't even know what else to do. So I counted them, and as I was counting them, I thought about networking. What is networking about? Is it just meeting people? No. Networking is the process of building relationships. It's connecting and serving, sharing, supporting. So I asked myself, how can I serve, share, and support these people? How can I connect with them to their benefit and mine without doing a sales pitch? Because a lot of the people had no reason to need me or want to work with me. So I got this idea. I thought, what if I connect with these people in an effort to serve, share, and support? So here's what I did. Well, being an introvert, as I mentioned, I don't like to do anything by half measures. I like to be prepared. So I decided that I was going to call everybody, and I was going to offer to refer business to them. And I was going to ask that they would refer business to me. And I thought and thought about it, and I came up with this process of, what if we got together and we could teach each other how to refer to each other? That would serve, share, and support. So I put together a little script, and it went like this. So I called every single person of those 60. I don't know if I mentioned there were 63 cards.
Oh, okay.
The big list. So I called every single one of them, made 63 phone calls, and essentially I said something like, well, we met at such and such a place, and I got your card, and I wonder if you had a moment for a brief chat. And people are like, okay, so, what can I do for you? And I said, well, thank you. I know you're busy, so I'm going to make this really quick. First question, are you accepting new clients? You are. Would you be willing to accept referrals from me? Second question. And third, when they said yeah, I proposed that we get together so that we could teach each other how to recognize and refer hot prospects. And we would do this for each other. Pretty much everybody that I called said, yeah, baby, I'll do this. I learned a few things. Yeah, I mean, it was just fantastic. So I started doing the meetings. Now, the first meetings that I had, since I had a home office, the very first day I invited some people to my home, and that was weird. And I got to tell you, I stopped that after like one day. First of all, people were afraid of my dogs, even though they're very well behaved. And second of all, one guy brought a bottle of wine to the meeting.
What did he have in mind?
Yeah, exactly. And I thought, you know what, I need to make this just a little more professional. Yeah. So the next couple of days I started meeting people at their offices. But I found that very often, if I met in their office, I felt like a job seeker or some sort of beggar, like I was in their hat in hand asking for a favor. And I wasn't asking for a favor. I was offering to refer to them. After somebody would take phone calls or check emails during our meetings, I said, this doesn't work for me. We need to meet on neutral ground. So immediately I switched the meetings over to Starbucks. And so here's how the meetings went. Again, I was extremely prepared. I would show up a little bit early, and the meetings were scheduled to be about a half an hour long. And so I would show up, and I had this little note sheet where I could take notes so that I could remember all the important things that they were going to tell me. And so I would sit down with my cup of coffee, and then they would come in, and they would see me there, and they would come over and join me, and I would ask them if they minded if I take notes, because I wanted to make sure I remembered everything they told me, and most people were fairly pleased about that. And so then I would start filling out my little note sheet, and I was asking questions like, who's a great referral for you? And the truth is, most people said anybody with a pulse and a checkbook or a credit card, and that's generally not clear. Essentially, I wanted to know who's the sweet spot, who is ready, willing, and able to pay, stay, and refer. So who is that ideal client for you? The second question I asked was, how will I know it's time to refer? And most people said, you know what, you don't even have to bother with that. Why don't you just download your entire contacts database into an Excel spreadsheet and email it over to me, and I'll just call everybody you know. And that doesn't work for me. So I said, no, I need to know, how will I know that somebody needs to work with you? So what are they saying? What are they doing? Because most people are not walking around with a little sign that says, my daughter's getting married and I'm looking for a wedding dress designer, or I'm thinking about refinancing my mortgage. People don't do that, but people do talk about stuff. They complain. They brag. They just have, in conversations, we can tell what it is people are thinking about and looking for. And then finally, I ask people, what's the best way for me to refer to you? Do you want me to do this, that, or the other thing? And a lot of people actually brought me their new client kits and expected me to drive around with my trunk full of their materials. And some people asked me to fax them a lead sheet or to send stuff by messenger. And all of that was just too much work. So I found out really quickly the best way that I could refer is to introduce somebody by email or by phone. And these days, everybody's got email, and so why not? And the nice thing about email is that with email, you have an electronic trail. I can, let's say, Becky, I want to introduce you to James because I think that he could help you do something, that you have just moved to Denver and you want to get connected with networking. I can send an email to James and I can say, James, I want you to meet Becky. She's just moved to Denver and she's really eager to get involved in the networking community. Becky, this is James. I take the lead in Denver, and he knows absolutely everybody can help you get connected. Here's your contact information. Discuss. I leave it to you to handle the details. That's a good referral.
Absolutely. And you've done that for me before.
Yes, I have. James, did you have a question?
No, I said I prefer it that way. That makes my life easier.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it makes everybody's life easier. And so here's the cool thing about that referral model. So Becky is thinking, well, golly, isn't Ronnie nice? Because she heard me saying that I wished, I wish to get more connected and do some networking in Denver, and she actually introduced me to a networking professional. And James is thinking, golly, isn't Ronnie nice? She has just brought me a hot prospect. So I've got these two people thinking, golly, isn't Ronnie nice? And I've done something nice for both of them. And not only is that a feeling good thing, but both of them are probably going to be thinking of me when it's time to refer for marketing. So that's what I did, and I've got to say it was grueling. But I didn't have any clients and not much else to do, and my first networking meeting wasn't for a couple of weeks. So let me just show you the stats. Actually, here's my little note sheet, and you can get this for free on my website, and you're welcome to use it as long as you don't modify it. You can just print it out and copy it. That's at DIYmarketingcenter.com on the Networking for Newbies page. And if you go to DIY Marketing Center, and I'll post a link in a little while, if you go there, if you just click on the Networking for Newbies, you'll go logo on the front page, you'll go to that page, scroll to the bottom, and you'll get this note sheet, and you can absolutely use it when you are doing your own networking. So let me talk about, so 2 weeks in, I had done 24 meetings, probably more than 24 meetings, and I had nothing.
Oh, wow.
I know, and so I was thinking, what am I doing wrong? Or is this a stupid process? Why isn't this working? And what I haven't told you before is that I've had a lot of success with networking in my corporate life and in my previous business. And so I was thinking, gosh, this new model that I have really should be working, and if it isn't, there must be, what is it that I'm doing wrong? And that's at the point when I realized that networking isn't just meeting people. Networking is developing relationships and serving, sharing, and supporting. So by that point, I had about 24 of those little note sheets filled out, and so I started making an effort every day to see who I could refer to these other people. Then things really started to pop. So I continued having meetings, and here's the result. In exactly 6 weeks, I had over 70 meetings. Now keep in mind, I would stack these meetings up at the coffee shop at World Cup or Starbucks or wherever I was going, and I would spend like 3 or 4 hours a day at these meetings, and that adds up pretty darn fast. I ended up giving over 75 referrals to different people, and I received 48 referrals.
That's incredible.
Wow.
It's a lot of work, though. I mean, I got to tell you, it's a lot of work, but these are the real numbers. And then at the very bottom, here is the bottom line. I had 29 clients at the end of 42 days. And it was thrilling. It was exciting. It was a lot of work. But back then, I didn't really have anything else going. Now, during this time, during that 6 weeks' time, I also built a small website. I think I had 6 pages on my website. This was 14 years ago. And I also started giving teleclasses after that. So in addition to, I did other things, but just through networking alone, 29 new clients. The average value of these clients at that point was around $300. So this was, it was a pretty exhausting process, but it happened. So let me talk to you briefly about the lessons I learned. Number one, the first lesson I learned was to stack up the meetings right next to each other, so I didn't waste a lot of time driving here and there. And I scheduled myself in different places on different days, so I could meet everybody in this area on Monday, and that area on Tuesday, and the third area on Wednesday, and that sort of thing. So so not only did I stack the meetings at the same place, I also gave myself a full hour for each of these meetings, and not because the meetings went long, but because it could be really weird if somebody came in before the other meeting was concluded. It also gave me a chance to get a fresh cup of coffee, maybe to go wash my hands and take a little bit of a break between. So that was the first lesson. The second lesson was I learned to drink decaf. Could have well, you're going to have 3 or 4 meetings in a row, and You should not be drinking 4 espressos, right, one after the other.
Oh boy,
And
yeah.
and the third lesson that I learned was to be that the clearer I am about what I want, the more I got exactly what I wanted.
Oh,
And
absolutely. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And so I'd like to take you back, if I could, to and I don't even know how to do this, to my notes. So the 3 questions I ask is, who's a great client for you? How will I know they are, that they're looking for you? And then how do I refer? And so here I was prepared. So by the time they ask me these questions, because even though I forgot to mention it, I should. I always took 2 blank note sheets, and on the first one, I wrote everything out, and the second one, when it was their turn, I handed to them. That way, they wouldn't have to remember to print something out, and it would also help guide their questions to me. And here's how I would answer. So what is it that I do? Well, I'm a marketing coach, and I help small businesses attract more clients. Who is the best referral for me? A small office, home office professional, like a chiropractor or an insurance representative. And how do I know it's a good time to refer? You're going to hear them say one of 2 things. Either, I love what I do, but I hate to market, or this economy's killing my business. And how do you refer? When you hear either one of those things, simply introduce us by email, and I'll take it from there. And that was how simple this process was. So I just got a little note here that I'd have my networking. There's my Networking for Newbies logo.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh, wow.
and there's the information for Networking for Newbies. As I mentioned, these the handouts are available on my website for free at any time, so everybody's welcome to go get them. And let me just stop sharing. There we go. And I will post the link right here right above the chat. How's that?
The sticky display?
Yeah, let me see if I can go into the sticky display. Okay.
Yeah. Nobody's used that yet, so yeah. Oh, good. Oh, that's perfect.
That looks like it works. Good job.
Yeah. Good. Thank you, Ronnie, for Oh, that's
Great.
fantastic. Can I ask you a question before James has a question from someone? What would happen? Let's say you get in a meeting and you're meeting with a chiropractor and they say, "Oh my gosh, I need your services." How would you handle that? I'm just curious.
Okay, so please don't do what I did, is how you handle it.
Oh,
so
okay.
So the first time that happened, I was like, yay, this is going to be wonderful. So let's go ahead and talk about that, and which was great. However, and this was just so astonishing. So then this guy leaves. He's like, okay, great. He's written me a check, really excited. We're going to work together. I'm feeling great. He's leaving, and here's the weird thing. He happened to know the next person who came in. And he said, "Oh, what are you doing here, Bob?" And the guy said,
Uh-oh.
Said, "Hang on to your wallet."
Ronnie, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it sounds like the wind took that story for...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do
okay.
you mind repeating that real quick, please? The
Sure.
man
Okay.
saw a friend walk in.
Yes. So as my new client was walking out, a friend of his was walking in to meet with me. And my new client warned this other guy to hang on to his wallet because he was going to end up pulling out and paying me before the meeting was over.
Oh, my word.
Yes. So
Wow.
that's all it took for me to realize I needed to maintain the integrity of this meeting. This was about us networking. And so immediately after that, if somebody wanted to work with me, I would say, great. Let's talk about that later. I've got another meeting coming up right now. Can we meet later at a different time and possibly at a different place?
That's a good idea. John Hayes says...
Meetings. These are not come here and learn about my business and give me money. These are networking meetings. How can we refer to each other? How can we serve, share, and support? and help with our businesses.
Wonderful, Ronnie. John Hayes says, what was your opening to the prospect that you meet at a meetup or at a networking event?
At a networking event? So what do you mean, what was my opening? So besides hello?
Exactly.
Besides hello? Yeah. When I'm going to networking, I am looking to create connections. And so usually I ask people, what do you do? Or if we haven't met yet, I might ask them, what brings you here today? And are you a regular here? What do you like best about this meeting? Because I want them to talk and to feel comfortable, and I'm not going to throw, great, let me give you a call tonight, tomorrow, whenever is appropriate, so that we can meet a lot of, so that we can enjoy talking today or meet some other people.
Wonderful. You broke up just a little bit there. Can you repeat that one more time? I'm so sorry.
Okay, so I have what I would consider an authentic conversation when I meet people at meetings. And I'm interested in what they do. I'm interested in their business. I'm interested in them. But I never approach anybody with a sales conversation, with a sales pitch. Should they want to talk business with me, that they say they want to meet with me, I ask them, when's a good time for me to call them? And I will call you and we'll set up a time to really sit down and focus. This networking meeting probably isn't the best place for us to do that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Becky, not Becky Tengwall, but Becky.
A different Becky, Ronnie. Yeah.
She has another question for you here. She goes, how can I network with people in particular industries, but I'm not in their industry? For example, insurance, realtors, etc. And Becky, I'm very sorry, I don't know what you do. If you go ahead and chat and tell us a little bit about that, but could you help us with that one, Ronnie?
Absolutely. And I do this myself all the time because I'm looking for the people I call power partners. These are people who work with my clients before, during, or after their work with me. And so, for example, I network with insurance people, bookkeepers, graphic artists, web designers, and so on. I even go to some of their industry.
We're having
marketing coach doing
technical difficulties now, but this stuff is very, very valuable. Ronnie, can you please repeat that? I apologize. You just the wind in Oregon or in Washington is just having fun with this webinar. I love it. Go ahead.
So I'm so sorry for this. Well, but at least we have an internet connection, which is more than I can say for a lot of people right now around here. Yeah. So I'm focusing on power partners, and I'm very open with people, and I let them know I'm looking for people that I can refer business to. Many of my clients also use bookkeepers, insurance people, website designers, and so on, and I'm looking to create solid connections with people that I can refer my clients to.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
Did that all come through?
Yeah, it did.
It really does.
Okay.
So, for example, Becky came back and she said she's with professional services, errands, seniors, and small businesses. So, how would you add that to insurance and realtors? What she does with them?
So, how would I add that? I'm not quite sure what you mean.
Becky does professional services. It sounds like she's a virtual assistant. And when she networks, she's saying here, this is what I'm guessing, that she sees a lot of insurance people, a lot of realtors, and they're not really in her wheelhouse. People that she can really just think, how can I make them a power partner? I mean, what is it that they do that I can make them a power partner?
Oh, so I get it now. Sorry about that. Yeah, the best way to find power partners are people who serve the same clientele that you do. And so that's a question you can be asking people at meetups. You can ask them, so who is it, who's your best client? And if there is a match, if their best client, if a good referral for them matches your client, then you absolutely have a reason to get together and talk so you can refer business back and forth.
Okay, Jamie says, it's static in the webinar, but this is really great ideas. It's always good to remember to be interested instead of interesting. That's some really good feedback.
Yeah.
So I see there's a little note in the chat. Becky says, you want them in your wheelhouse, but you don't have the connections yet. Well, you know something, Becky? Here's my recommendation.
Uh-oh. Ronnie, we lost you for a minute.
Can I help these other people? And maybe even ask them, how can I refer business to you? This process that I have described today that I did is a great way to get to know people. Not all of the people that you meet are going to be great referral partners, but by sitting down and talking to them, asking them who's a great referral for you, how will I recognize that it's time to refer, and how do you want me to refer? What's the best way to refer? You will let them talk, and they'll feel really good about this, and you'll be able to identify people that can be good power partners, referral partners back and forth. Even if you don't end up working with a lot of people, they will have gotten to know you, and they will think, wow, how cool are you? And you will start developing a really positive reputation.
Right. I want to add to that, Ronnie, if that's okay, because I understand what Becky's saying. She's saying that the insurance agents, realtors, and such are part of her power partners, and she wants to go network with them. And I got to mention, I don't know who Becky is or where she is, but a leads group is always a great resource. It's not actually a meetup. There's a ton of leads groups out there. And usually they start with the realtors, the lenders, the insurance agents, and the financial advisors, and those are always good for power partners of seniors and small business people doing errands or virtual assistants for those particular people, because they work with them as well. So I just wanted to interject that a little bit.
Yeah, that's really great information. As a matter of fact, Becky, I would like to remind everybody that I'll give you one more little tip before we wrap it up, as a matter of fact. So there are 3 types of people that you are looking for when you are networking. These who does a similar thing to what you do, not because you want to be competitive with them, but because maybe they can refer to you the people that they don't want to work with, or if they have overflow. So number 1, network with your peers. Number 2, network with your power partners. And those are the people who also serve the same clientele you do, but in a complementary way or a different way. And 3rd, the last people that you're looking to network with are going to be your prospects. And those are the people who will be directly buying from you. They're much harder to find, and it's a better use of your networking time to look for referrals, which is why, now let's talk about the places you can go to network. The number 1 place people should be going to network is leads groups, because those are people who are there to help you build your business, and people want to give you leads as you want to give them. So leads groups, number 1. And then finally, association meetings, or like chamber meetings or something like that, for number 3. But I think the number 1 place to build your business fast through networking is a leads group. And I got to tell you, there ain't no better leads group than I Take the Lead.
Well, thank you, Ronnie. Well, what was number 2? I didn't hear that. I heard the
Okay, sorry. That's networking groups.
Oh, okay. Like a wheel here in the well, what was
there's one called Women in Networking. So you've heard of WIN, and it's like 75 to 150 gals drinking glasses of wine, standing around for an hour. But like there are no introductions, there's nothing. There's just some wine drinking. And,
oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and those are not good meetings for creating relationships, but they are great meetings for drinking wine.
If you like to drink wine.
Ronnie, speaking of leads groups, one thing I found, they're the home turf. When you were saying about your neutral place, uh, expand a little bit about your home turf, because I know any professional team has, their home game that they play. But
Mhm.
how does a leads group kind of work for giving you like a home base, a home field advantage?
Well, what I like about a leads group is that you get to know the other people in the group. And they not only know you, they start to trust you, and they start, they're like an unpaid sales team, and they start sending business your way. And particularly for people like me and like Becky, who may find themselves a little bit introverted and may find it difficult. Now, you might not believe this, James, but some of us find it difficult to go out and meet a bunch of new people all the time. And so having a group of people that we know and like and trust and who are interested in helping us build our business gives us a lot of confidence and helps us work on our messaging, and also puts us in the way of being able to serve a lot of people. So your home group, your leads group, I think, is the foundation of your networking.
I like it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
You're welcome.
Well, you talk about introvert networking, and I know we have a few people, actually probably most people on here, who are introverted.
Mhm.
Um, Explain a little bit, if you would, who's more successful usually? Do you normally find the introverts being more successful or the extroverts?
Well, the extroverts were the success stories of the 20th century, but now in the 21st century, that
I like that.
well, now that we have the internet and things have really changed, there's actually a lot of research that shows that the most successful businesses are helmed by introverts, and that introversion is actually better for networking because we're more interested as introverts in creating authentic relationships, not just glad handing, passing out our cards, and hitting everybody up for sales. So the extrovert might have a different approach to networking, whereas the introvert makes deeper and probably fewer, but more long-lasting and I would say more useful relationships.
Oh, I like that. Very well put.
So what
Thank
kind
you.
of tools do you use to help, do you use or recommend for an introvert to get out of their shell?
Okay, so great question, James. So number one is preparation. So figure out where you're going to go, and also to give yourself a little bit of aversion therapy by doing stuff. So always start with a leads group. And as I mentioned, I recommend I take the lead. So start going to the same group week in, week out. Number two, start working on your messaging, which is your elevator speech, that short, pithy answer to the question, what do you do? Then number three, start working on how you introduce yourself so that you don't stutter and or jabber. And I have been guilty of both things. And then once you have those things in place, you can start expanding outward, start going to more meetings, more mixers. But it's when you're an introvert, it's always a series of small, safe steps where you can do plenty of preparation to be really successful.
Excellent.
Steve Hansen says, "Hey, be careful in slamming the extroverts." Smiley
Oh,
face.
Steve, my dear friend, I'm not slamming the extroverts. I'm just saying that their brains work very differently than introverts.
And I've noticed it just networking comes so much easier to them. They can walk into a room and just talk to anybody. And as Ronnie and I know, it's not easy for us at all.
Yes, exactly. But I'm not going to, I see that time's waste since I'm not going to get into the science here. But I just want to say that extroverts are more like are more risk takers, and introverts not so much. And so extroverts, can be these wild cowboys, whereas introverts put the brakes on a lot earlier. And so it's a different approach. And like I said, I specialize in introverts because that's who I am. And I got to say, Steve, I love extroverts. My father was the most extroverted person I've ever met in my life, and I adored him.
And let me also say this. Steve, welcome to I Take the Lead. He just joined about an hour ago.
Oh, good
wow.
for you.
Mr. B2B Group. So welcome, Steve. We're glad not only to have you on the car, but to have you on the team as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, we got about 6 minutes left in the magic minutes. If you got anything you want for Ronnie, if you want to ask her any questions, this gal is awesome. So amazing, especially with marketing. Just absolutely amazing. Ronnie, tell us your success with the magic. I'm so impressed with that. It's not even funny. My brother plays it all the time, and he's a veteran, believe it or not.
Oh, he's a vet. Well, happy Veterans Day to him.
I'll tell him you said that.
So with magic, but yeah. So before I became a coach, I was actually a marketing executive, and I did work with Magic the Gathering. And I admit it, I contributed to the decline of Western civilization by by promoting and making that game one of the most successful, and all sorts of other completely useless but diabolically interesting stuff.
Wow.
That's absolutely amazing. Everybody who's ever played that game, who continues playing that game, is impressed. My brother's been playing it for over, wow, decade. It feels like decades, forever. So, and they have tournaments everywhere. It's amazing.
Oh, that's funny.
For you to be a part of that, it's a select group, but when you're in there, everybody knows. I mean, it's as big as World of Warcraft. It's huge, and it's all word of mouth advertising. And that's what people don't understand, and that's what you're all about. It's all word of mouth. That's the only way the game gets out. That's the only way anybody knows about it.
Wow.
So now, speaking of word of mouth, I'd like to make a little offer.
Start over, Ronnie.
I have a little offer myself, which is and it's not doing it. There we go. I've got a special offer for the folks on the webinar today, a marketing diagnostic, a 30-minute one-on-one power coaching session with me. It's regularly $147, but today you can get it for only $97. And here is a link if anybody is interested in working with me privately.
Now, Ronnie, we have a lot of people around the country. We have some people from Pennsylvania and such. Can this be via the phone?
Absolutely. And the nice thing about it being via the phone is that I can record the session, so you can so that it can be heard again and again. And I have clients from all over the world, as far away as Germany. So
wow.
I work on the phone a lot. So the phone, or I have my own private webinar system as well.
Oh, good. Oh, perfect.
That is just excellent. And if you want to know more information about Ronnie, you could just Google marketing coach. But believe it or not, I Googled it. I clicked on VeronicaNoize.com. I'll spell that. VeronicaNoize.com. And right on our first page, and I got to mention this because it's perfect timing and it's awesome. In fact, I'll show everybody here. But right on our first page is how to promote your marketing event, 40 plus ideas. Now, with that, Ronnie, do you think everybody should have their own marketing event?
You know, I find that events are one of the best ways for people to understand and experience products and services. You know, and we were just talking about Magic the Gathering, and that is really how we got that that word of mouth started. As we went into stores, we went to conventions, we did game demos, is what made it big, and that was 20 years ago.
And it was all word of mouth. If you look at my screen right here, can everybody see that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Ronnie's website here. Absolutely phenomenal, absolutely great. Here's 40 ideas. You talk about a giver. She just keeps on giving and giving. I mean, look at all of this information. I mean, this is a wealth of knowledge. I'm just so impressed with you. It's not even funny. Just extremely impressed.
James, you sweet talker.
And Steve Hansen says, "What kind of wine do you like?" Just kidding.
Great presentation, he said. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Oh, Steve, you crack me up. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, I want to, Ronnie, I am so glad that we were able to have you on the webinar today. I so appreciate you and all you've done for us, and I take lead in our members. I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you and James today. I really appreciate it.
You're amazing. It's a privilege to know you. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
What a good boy.
Well, thanks. Thanks everybody who was on the call. We hope, or on the webinar today. We hope you got a lot out of it. You will be sent. You will automatically get a replay. If it doesn't work, don't worry. Something's going to come out to you in MailChimp tonight with the link, and so everybody will have an opportunity to rehear it if you missed some of it. And again, we want to thank everybody, and I'm going to close out now, unless James has any added words.
I got one more. I mean, this stuff is so powerful. Ronnie's got so much information. I don't know about you, but I know I'm going to rewind it. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to fast forward to where some stuff I wanted to hear again. I'm going to try a few things, and hey, check this out too. If it doesn't work for you the first time, don't give up on it. Keep using it over and over and over. There's a reason why she's been in business for over 14 years by herself. There's a reason for it. There's a reason why she helped spread magic together. There's a reason why she's on the front page of Google being the marketing coach. There's a reason why she does what she does. And this is so valuable. You can't listen to it too much. So go ahead and share it with your friends. Discuss it. Have it like a book club. I mean, amazing material in here. Thank you so much. I'm impressed. I'm completely impressed.
Well, thank you, James.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is fun.
Well, good.
You two know how to party.
And Steve is going to bring the wine.
That's right, he is.
Yeah, there you go. Love it.
All right.
Okay, thanks again. Bye-bye, Ronnie. Bye, James.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.